All right, well, funny enough, I dragged this up here, 55-pound version, and I feel like I might have messed it up because I left it out in the rain and it got wet. But I am here for the first time, ready to do actual boat work in what feels like months, and actually has truly been months. So, nifty dolly here. This thing is super useful, bringing a heavy anchor and bag together, and it is time to get to work.
All right, guys, what's going on? So this week we got a lot of projects on the board to prepare for our trip down to Mexico. So let me show you what we got here. Let's see, we got a new anchor that's up just next. Let's see, I did install a new voltage regulator. I'm not gonna show the footage of that, but we got it done. And that is a preview, by the way, to one of our coolest projects ever, which is this amazing alternator, which stay tuned for that. I did rewire the batteries, which I'm also not going to show, but I do have a battery combiner that we need to install, a new dinghy motor, and we need to fix a hole in the dinghy. I love how some people call inflatable dinghies deflatables, because that is definitely true. Let's see, we also need to go pick up an air conditioner that I found and install some cockpit speakers. Let's see, I want to quiet down this extremely loud inverter that is right next to the aft berth in our main cabin. Let's see, I have a table mod. This is really cool for any of you Hunter Legend owners out there, or if you just have a boat that has one of those huge tables with a huge leaf that takes up a lot of space, you might at least get some ideas from this. Let's see, I need to clean our water tanks. We have an autopilot cover that'll free up a ton of space in the lazarette. And finally, I need to figure out how to, some way how to do laundry while underway. So let's get down to the boat and get to it.
Well, we got just coming through a Cat 5 storm, and don't have too much damage around, but there's a little bit.
All right, so like I said, I got that 55-pound Mantus M1 anchor. Super excited to test it out, and we will be using it in our next episode when Amber and Emma and I sail to Chinatown. I also installed a Victron battery combiner. Currently the alternator is set to charge the house batteries, and then I just want the starter battery to be topped up every now and then. And then I went on a dinghy trip with my friends.
Boat ready. Looking good so far. We got Glenn supervising.
And long story short, the little two-stroke outboard I had was giving me problems, and so I said, screw it. Everyone says a two-stroke is simpler and better, and you know, the four strokes are horrible, especially the Mercury 3.5. So I picked up a Mercury 3.5 outboard, and I am super excited to test that.
When you spin it around,
Oh, do I have to leave it?
leave it this side up.
Right. All right, look at that thing. That is so shiny. You practically see yourself.
Ah, it's even got that new outboard smell. Wait, never mind, that's me. So I do notice that the new outboard is a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, but I'm still super excited to not have to deal with the multiple fuels, and we will be testing it on our next episode.
All right, we have found the leaks, which are not these, but there you go. From some kind of scuff, basically. And if I put my face in front of it, I could just feel just the slightest needle-like type of breeze. So the boat came with this patch kit. I have scuffed up both this and this, and I do have HH77 or 66 cement, but I'm gonna just go ahead and try the glue that came with it and see how that works. Okay, so if I were to summarize what I learned fixing this dinghy as a total noob repairing PVC dinghies, read the instructions very careful with that adhesive glue for PVC.
make sure you do both sides, make sure you wait. I had to like redo this 3 times. So I did get it working. I pumped it up and I tested it after that, but you got to be careful with these glues.
And now, time for a little road trip.
All right, well, this guy got back to me with the air conditioning, and it's in Bakersfield, so it's about 4.5 hours away. So I am on my way to go pick that up. All right, and just like that, we have a nice air conditioning. It's a few years old, but it's clearly never been used. So $850. If it works, then I think it's a fantastic deal. So let's test it out. Really hope it works.
All in all, the air conditioning was relatively easy to figure out. I used an extension cord and I stuck paper clips in it and used alligator clips, which you can maybe see here, in order to do a test wiring. So let's see if I just wasted $850.
There it is. Okay, get our ground connection in there. I can't emphasize enough how terrible what I'm doing is, so I'm gonna go for it. We have power. Oh my god, something's happening. That's cold air. That is cold air. Okay, we're gonna do something dangerous here. I'm going to wrap this with a, oh shit, with watery tape or a watery cloth. And then we are going to use eyeglasses because now the solder might explode on our face. Okay.
So this is a water-cooled air conditioning unit, and I need to solder on the 2 copper connections so I can connect it to the water in the boat.
I think I have burned my flux. I mean, it looks pretty on there. It took a lot less time than I thought it would. Not super pretty, but I don't actually think it's terrible either.
After soldering on the connectors, all I want to do for now is just mount the air conditioning, and then I'll finish hooking it up when we get to Mexico.
So we got the air conditioning unit just sitting there, not attached to anything. The next thing I want to do, even though I'm not hooking it up, is at least just mount it so it's going to stay in one spot when we're leaned way over and all of that going through seas. So I went to my favorite store, Ace Hardware, and I got this nice little aluminum oh, that fits like a glove. Look at that. That was exactly what I was going for. That rarely happens.
I made 2 more, tacked them all down, and for now, we were good to go. On to the next project. So in a previous episode long ago, I added interior speakers and a subwoofer, but now I also followed that with some new full-range cockpit speakers. You also may remember that my inverter is super loud and annoying, so I decided to encase it with a plywood box with automotive dampening and a fan for a vent.
Okay, since
the inverter is raised up higher, this won't sit down on the shelf, so I gotta cut out a little bit here. And let's see how much wood dust I get on myself. Even though the inverter isn't fully encased yet, listen to how much quieter it is with just this main panel put in place. Then, so I can have easy access to the control panel, I measure for a cutout window. Then I use between 2 to 3 layers of automotive dampening on all sides of the plywood. Okay. And as you can see, I also had a PWM speed controller there because silence is golden. Then I installed the vent fan for cooling. And the last step is to create and mount that cutout window. So I created this cutout window. It's glued and screwed. And I need to try to level it. So... with the help of my kitchen window, we got it leveled perfectly and back to the boat. Okay, I guess I forgot to turn the camera on, but we are gluing this on. I checked and there is plenty of clearance, so after narrowly avoiding gluing my fingers together, we're just waiting for this crazy glue to dry, and then we can dry fit it. Okay, let's try it. Now for the big test. Oh yeah. Beautiful. It's like you can't even see it. Checking for crazy glue. Yeah, I know. And when I press it, I can't hear any difference in volume, which means it's like doing what I want it to do. It's sealing it fully. Ah, silence. All right, here's our little forge, and here's the piece we're gonna try to bend. Okay, so why was I making this bracket? Well, let me tell you, this is one of the coolest projects that I have in the works. It's an alternator that will push out 150 to 200 amps continuously, but here's the thing, when I say continuously, I actually mean truly continuously, unlike those other alternators that advertise a bajillion amps, but will only do it for like 5 to 10 minutes before overheating. So this thing, I set it up so it'll push out about 150 amps, and I measured 150 amps continuously for 4 hours at, get this, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I came up with this idea on my own, and I haven't found it anywhere else on the internet, which is crazy, except for one dude in Europe who also did the same thing, and I'll link you to him in case you want to make one of these for yourself. Next up, we have another surprise project. Here I am making a bracket for the enormous table and the modification that I'll show you next. So now the question is, do I use this? Do I use... Okay, I'm supposed to be editing a video, but I just can't help but finishing off this project, so I'm just gonna play 30 minutes of hooky and show you what I want to do. So Hunter Legend 40.5s have these ginormous tables which really gets in the way, so I decided to take the saw to this gorgeous piece of plywood. Okay guys, here it goes. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Oh man, I'm gonna go get a brush. I think this cut might be like 100%, well, okay. I had a little thing there. But other than that, oh my God, this is so good. Look at that. Look at that. I definitely think they don't make plywood like they used to. Now what I need to do is to get it to do two things. Lock here, and then lock like that. So that way I can push this table out of the way and, oh yeah, see? Otherwise, if this was down previously, I could only get the table to there. So it's the difference between this or that. And that gives me way more space. So editor's note, I am being a little sneaky here because as you can see, I did this while at anchor when I was on a solo test run on the boat. Some of these clips aren't exactly in order, but that's because it literally took me weeks or even months sometimes in between other projects to complete them all. But I did get this all assembled using the bracket from the previous scene. When it came to this folding bracket, I added an extra screw on each side. I want it to be as strong as possible. And was I being dragged aground while anchored in 30-knot winds? Well, I'll let you decide that one.
There we go. Simple as that. There we go, folks. So, that, like that, and like that. There we are. First project at anchor done. Okay, quick little note. This is a nifty little thing, got off of Amazon. It seems pretty good quality. And what it is it's a normal sink, as you can see. It's a pretty high flow sink. So I'll have to teach Amber to not go full blast, you know. Just do your little dribble like a lot of you RVers and boat people know. But the really cool thing about this is that right there is a hose. This part here is a garden hose thread. So I can hook a garden hose to this and do whatever cleaning. I already cleaned out, I sprayed, again, that whatever interstitial area between the inside of the boat and the side of the boat, but that's not the bilge at the very bottom. Anyways, the side bilges, I don't know. But anyways, you can hook up your garden hose to that, and it's pretty easy to just put this thing on and off. So there you go.
Okay, so I don't have video of it, but I did clean all of the water tanks by first filling them with soap and then filling them with acid. I did use, I believe, washing powder for the soap, and then I actually used powdered citric acid for the acid. And I think in one tank I did use vinegar. So that's the normal way that you do to clean out the tanks. But then also, so again, for you Hunter Legend owners, you may also have this issue, but let me show you this weird bulging issue I have with the floors when I fill up the two central tanks. Okay, so this is the floorboard just over the starboard central tank when the tank is fully full, and you can see it bulges about 3/4 inches above the other boards.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna run the sink and let's see what happens. I'm pressing that a little bit right here. There you go. Pretty crazy, huh? That can't be good for the seal at the top of the tank, which is bedded, by the way, in 5200. So how terrible of a problem is that? I mean, it's definitely not a good thing. And the tanks, these lower two tanks don't leak right now. But you tell me, especially if you've had this boat before or a similar construction where it's an integral fiberglass tank with a lid, just a lid with a billion screws around the edges, 5200, I believe, 5200 in there. Is that gonna just like start leaking on me at some point? Okay, so the projects never stop around here. So what I'm working on, I will show you. Right now we have this lazarette here. There's a lot of room in it, but obviously if this rod even gets scratched, then we could have major problems and lose the autopilot. It already leaks like a drop every other day. I don't know if that's okay or normal, but anyways, so I am going to make a little box for it, but we also want to be able to see it. So I have an acrylic cover that I'm going to put over this with a cap above that so that we can refill it easily.
I started out by cutting the support pieces that would comprise the frame for the box.
Okay, great.
Then I cut the acrylic piece.
Praying for no cracks. Yeah, it looks great. So I have completed the structure. I've added this bracket, this thing, and I mean, you know, I couldn't dance on it, but I could definitely stand on it. This as well. I just need to add the bracket here somehow. So okay, let's try it. Okay, well, let's try the really scary part in drilling the final holes through here.
I did everything very carefully here because I wanted to make sure that I did not crack the plexiglass.
There we go, folks. That's pretty darn tough. And now we can do what I've really been wanting to do.
That lazarette had never been able to store anything reliably because of the autopilot until now.
And with that, we have cleared out the entire lazarette area.
Okay, so now for my last trick, I want to figure out how to do laundry. I found this sweet machine on Amazon. It's called the Drop. It looks very promising. The size looks good. But the thing I like about it the most that I'm hoping will work is that it has a spin cycle. So the clothes should come out, if not completely dry, but you know, pretty dry. And then you should be able to hang dry them to finish the process without them being all dripping wet. All right, guys, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we got done. I did try the washer once so far. It seems to work pretty good. But yeah, I mean, let's take a look at what we got done. All right, so we installed that battery combiner. We got that new anchor done. We got the new dinghy motor set up. We fixed our dinghy. We mounted the air conditioner. We installed some cockpit speakers. We quieted down the inverter. We fixed our enormous table. We cleaned out our water tanks, and we have probably our main way of how we want to do laundry.
And of course, let's not forget our autopilot cover freeing up a bunch of space.
Next up, I'm actually taking Amber on a little test sail trip. We'll probably head to China Camp, meet up with Emma. So we're actually gonna be testing out some of these new systems. So till then, my friends, fair winds, and I'll see you soon.